Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Home Built by Howard. This week, we are going to do an assload of welding. Tons of it.
360, 75 hours, 10-6.
If you don't know what this is my TR6 Restomod, where I'm taking all of the internals of powertrain electronics from a BMW 135 and stuffing it into a 1968 Triumph TR6. Last week we got the front end, or last episode, we got the front end back on the car. We test fit the doors. We did a bunch of patching in order to get those BMW strut towers locked into place in the front end of the car. So this week we need to go through and really just dial in all of the spot welds. So here we go.
Right, just as a quick reminder for those of you who weren't here, we did a lot. This is the original BMW strut towers, as you can see in the dark gray metal, the black metal there. Everything that is silver is new metal. And there are bits and pieces of the original Triumph. So I used some of the original inner fender from the Triumph and cut it into place, and then did some patch filling, etc. We made our own custom pieces here to surround the e-box on that side and the brake actuator on this side, as well as we had to make some new pieces here to go around the brake booster, as well as a lot of the firewall originally has been replaced, but we also grafted in a bunch of the BMW firewall, specifically where the brake booster and brake unit comes through the firewall to the engine, and where the e-box connects up with its little breathing fan. So there are a lot of places that we did spot welding, etc. We still have some firewall stuff to do. There's still some spots where we need to patch as well, but we are going to pull out the TIG welder and we are going to start buttoning up all of these spot welds here. And we're probably going to run out of gas and have to get more, but we can do that tomorrow. So let's get this car moved into place, rotated around, and start welding. Okay, now that we've got that all cleaned, what we're going to have to do is go in and grind all of these down nice and flat. Get rid of all of this this welding crap from the MIG welder. Basically get everything cleaned up so that we can get in and TIG weld it. When it comes to TIG welding, the cleaner everything is, the happier the TIG welder is. So, these burn, this flux burn that's around everything from the MIG welder is best removed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a grinding, get everything ground down and cleaned up, and then we'll just hit it with a rag and some wax and grease remover just to make sure that it's properly clean, and then we'll start welding. So I didn't record a whole bunch of the welding I did. It's just, so boring. But are gone. So looks like I will be picking some up tomorrow. But let me show you what I got done here. So I welded up all the seams on both sides in here and here. I got all of these pieces all nicely welded. Nothing's been cleaned yet. It's just been, welded. I got a whole bunch of this welded up in here. There's still a fair bit to do. So you'll get your opportunity to watch me weld. But, I just got what I could reach, what was easy to reach. I have to weld in here these little pieces and down in here, as well as this here, which I think I'll probably have to do from the inside, is going to be a pain. There's a few of these sort of corners. They're, inside corners. I don't want to weld it here because it'd be a pain in the ass to grind. I can weld it from the other side, likewise up in here as well. Have some patches to do, but I got this welded nice and solid in here on both sides, just to see how stiff everything got, and everything got really, really stiff, which I am really happy about. Aside from the fact I got a 2x3 frame on this thing that is just overkill. The unibody type thing that I'm doing here is really stiffening things up. I heard a couple good pops while I was welding, welding it, etc. But nothing, went boing and messed up. It just, some tension in the material. I haven't hammered anything out. I haven't, I haven't ground anything down. I'm going to do all that later. But anyways, that's where I am now. I'll pick up some more argon tomorrow and finish off all the welding tomorrow. Well, I have been at it for, good 7 hours now. I got pretty much everything that was tacked welded. And I've also ground it all down, or most of it. You can sort of see I've got, a bunch of the seams are nicely ground down. I still have a little bit to do. There's touch-ups that are going to happen. And, I don't want to grind this too much because I get into the thin metal and then I blow through it and it's a real pain to fix. So body filler. And then there's places like back in here and down in here. I can't reach that with the tool I've got. All I've got is a grinder. I don't have one of those finger belt sanders. I've been looking at them, but spending a lot of money on that sort of stuff. They have pneumatic ones are dirt cheap, but I don't have a compressor, nor a big compressor that will run it. So, a $50 tool is going to cost me $1,000 with a compressor. And the electric ones or the battery powered ones are like $200-$300. So anyway, I'm probably going to have to eat it and buy one, but not 100% sure when. Anyway, so I got what I could reach ground down. I noticed there are a few places that obviously I still need to patch, right? And then there's spots that I can't reach from, outside the car. I'll have to do those from inside the car. Also, I was able to weld this from the other side. I've got a bunch of little pieces to make, to put in. I got to give it a good cleaning still. But let's keep going with the welding. Maybe get onto the inside of the car now and weld up these things that are, a real pain in the butt to weld from the other side here, and see if I can't get the last of this at least the parts that are stitch weld or that are spot welded properly. Then I'll go through and make all these little patches and, fill all that stuff and, finish my weld across here. It'll be done from the inside. So, all right, well, let's keep moving. Well, I fixed these holes in the top of the dash there, and we got all of the inside here all welded up. So, this seam is done. All the places that I couldn't reach from outside have been taken care of. Now I still have some holes. I still have, some patches that I need to do, but I'm happy with where I got to. I plugged a bunch of little tiny holes, and I still have some on this side to do. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. This front panel's got one hell of a friggin' warp in it. I mean, look at this. This is like, seriously, man, that looks like my stomach. I'm not 100% sure what to do about that. I can grind this down. Do I really care? Yeah, not really. But, I probably should, but I don't know how to fix that. It warped from the heat of the welding, and, to shrink it would be a lot of hammer and dolly work. And of course I've got this right in the way of where I would need to be hammering. And, reaching inside is a royal pain in the butt. So I'm not sure whether I'll worry about it or not. Yeah, it's one of those things. If it really starts to chap my ass, what I might end up doing is cutting the whole thing out and replacing it with a panel that has some serious structure in it. But likelihood is I'm not going to. It's just probably not going to happen. Anyway, that's where we're at. It's not perfect, but it's mine. So awesome. Let's patch those holes. Well, I've been getting a lot of those little patches done, just like filling little tiny things like this, and just, getting all of that buttoned up. I got all the patches filled, like on the inside here. You can sort of see this was cut out. So those are all done. Even like little things like this and these little holes here, I just got them tacked into place. Now what I'm going to do is I have I tacked in spacers, the same on both sides, on the inside, and then nothing on the outside. And I've bolted it down tight so that this is, it's bolted into place. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to weld the body to the frame. And I'm going to weld it at the mounting points here first. And then we're going to move on to welding in a bunch of other places. Oh yeah, we got all the welding done. Everything's welded. Now there's just a boatload of grinding to do. So yeah, I'm just going to do the grinding off camera. But yeah, everything is all welded. I put the seat nuts in, just because I welded the body to the frame at the brackets that were originally here. So that's locked in. I can remove these bolts, and then I can weld these plug weld from the top as well. I welded in some lifts on the inside here for my seat rails, that stack of washers. But oh, look, wow, dude in the minivan, just giving her. Guy's out for a rip. So yeah, I'm, aside from some pinholes here and there, that I'll find once I've done grinding, I'll have to go over everything one more time. It's the majority is done now.
All right, well, we set out to do an ass load of welding, and we did an ass load of welding. We also did half an ass load worth of grinding and then welded some more. And now we've got the other half ass load of grinding to do. I'll do that off camera between episodes.
One eternity later.
We are going to build a set of tire cribs, get the front and rear subframes in the car, and start to look at the way the springs and shocks are going to sit, especially in the back of the car. That's going to bruise, just like my finger.
Okay, so I'm going to make a set of tire cribs. And if you don't know what tire cribs are, you take 2x4s and you cut them at length, and then you stack them like this, on top of each other to build up a block that you can put under the tires of the car. That way, the whole car sits up off the ground. It can't stay on the rotisserie, not with, the engine and subframes and everything. It's just too heavy. So you want these. And also now, before I get into, finalizing where the shocks are going to be, and especially the shocks here, and whether I'm going to need to lower the springs. And when I put the rear fenders on, you want the car sitting under its own weight so that you can see if it's balanced, you can see how low it sits or high, and you can adjust the suspension, the ride height, and where your wheel arches are, as well as your tire size, rim and tire size, so that it looks good and it rides well. And in order to do that, the car has to be sitting on its tires, but I don't want it 6 inches off the ground. I need to be able to get underneath it. So enter tire cribs. Now, I picked up 14 pieces of 2x4 here. This stuff, okay, I've got a security camera because I don't know what lumber prices are like where you're watching, but $4.38 a piece for 2x4s. And I mean, they're not even good. It is ridiculous. I mean, they're straight, which is nice, but oh my God, tell me you're rich without telling me you're rich. Like, seriously. It has just gotten ridiculous, the price of wood. But anyways, I got the wood, and what I did is I basically know that I looked at my tires, which are a 17-inch rim with the rubber on them, the winter tires that came with the BMW. And what I did was I figured out that running lengthwise, the wood needs to be 20 inches. Widthwise, it needs to be 12 inches. That will give me a set of pieces that are 12 inches wide this way that the tire fits into, and it's in a good place. And width-wise, it's enough that it's wider than the tire, and I'm not worried about the car falling over and falling off of it. A lot of people say, 16 inches wide. I mean, it's overkill. But what I did was I basically got those measurements, and I knew that it wanted to be 16 inches tall, right? Which means I need X number of pieces. And I worked it out that I need 5 pieces going this way and 5 pieces going this way. So basically 10 levels high at 1.5 inches is just under 16 inches. It's 15 inches high, right? And what I did is I went into ChatGPT and I said, all right, I need 40 pieces that are 20 inches long and 40 pieces that are 12 inches long. What is the best cut pattern that is going to be the least expensive and is going to have the least amount of wastage? And I punched in the price of 2x4x8s and 2x4x10s and 2x4x12s, etc. And ChatGPT crunched the numbers and said 14 of these and chop them up. So 10 of these we're going to cut at 20 inches. And then what's left we're going to cut 12 inches. So out of 10 of these, we're going to get all of our 20-inch pieces, and we're going to get 10 of the 12-inch pieces. The remaining 4 8-footers we're going to cut at 12 inches, and that's going to give us the remainder of it's going to give us 36 pieces, and we'll have about 40 inches of wood left over. So yeah, ChatGPT did a good job at crunching that calculation and saving me a lot of time, because when I first calculated this ages ago, thinking I needed these, I was calculating it, crunching it a different way, and I would have ended up with, I think, 2 or 3 more pieces of wood, which is like $16 worth of wood that is much better spent on Starbucks or something. Anyway, let's hump this wood outside with a chop saw and a table and get to cutting. Okay, so all set up here, and I just took a piece of metal and just did a quick stop here. So basically I know that it's 12 inches, to here, it's close enough. That way I can just run the pieces through and I don't have to measure each time. So let's keep chopping, or let's start chopping.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to stack these. We want to have 2 of these at top like this, right? Which means we need to, basically we want to be stacking these like this all the way up until we reach the height we want. So I just want to make sure. I can never remember, can't remember, didn't bother figuring it out, which way this, like friggin' Jenga. Like this here, and there's going to be 5 of each. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 5, right? So, and then there's only 4 of these, so I'm supposed to start these on the bottom, right? These on the bottom because I want to end with these on the top, and I need 5 of each row. So we're going to be going like this, right? Like that, so that we end like this. That way the wheel sits up against these and it can't roll forwards or backwards, out of place. Oh, it is Jenga. Oh my God, I almost lost it there. And yeah, we need to be a little bit more accurate than this. But you see, that is going to create a nice solid base for us that won't rock from side to side. The car can't roll, forwards and backwards. And it's wide enough that our wheel is going to sit in the middle, and we're going to have a few inches on either side of it, so we can sit the car down. And what's great about these is if I need more height, I can just add a couple more and jack it up, an extra, pick up another, another 3 2x4s, and I can do another 2 layers, get it another 3 inches higher. And I actually have 2 more or 3 more 2x4s up there that I've had for a while. So I've got a bit extra, and if I need to raise it, I will raise it. This way I can get under the car and not have to worry. So let's get these put together. All right. So we have to attach these together. And I know there's going to be comments, arguments in the comments. You should use screws. No, I'm going to use nails. Screws are great if you want to stop things from being pulled apart, okay? They suck at keeping things from moving. Nails will allow things a little bit of movement, okay? Screws will break. They'll shear. Nails, if you've ever tried to yank nails out, they just bend and will not let go. And all the nails are going down, and all the weight's going down. There's going to be no shear loads on this whatsoever. And even if there was, there's a reason why you frame houses with nails and not with screws. So nails it is. If you want to argue, do it on the internet. All right, let's do this.
well, those are made. That only took a little, little over a couple hours to do, between picking up the wood and cutting them and nailing them together, etc. But they're ready to go. So what we need to do now is we need to get the front subframe, the motor off the front subframe, so that we can get this front subframe into the car, and so we can get the rear subframe into the car. Now, I am going to take the car off of the rotisserie and just put it on a set of jacks, floor stands, I should say, which has been working just great for getting the rotisserie in. So order of operations, car off the rotisserie onto stands, engine hoist to lift the engine out of the front subframe, and down onto the wooden block that I've got that will support it, as we've done before. Then we will lift the front subframe into the car. And first we got to get those coilovers in place. So what we'll do is we'll take out these original bits of suspension, and we'll put the coilovers in place there so that they're all lined up and good. Then we'll get the front subframe into the car. Then that'll free up the engine hoist. And as you saw, we made that bar last time for lifting the rear subframe up into place, and we will lift the rear subframe up into place. Now I have to put the springs and shocks into that, and I have the original springs over there. And what I want to do is I'm going to actually take those original springs and use them so that it'll be sitting at BMW ride height. Now, the front should be sitting at BMW ride height with the front suspension lowered 2 inches, because if you remember, the top of this is 2 inches closer to the mounting point of the subframe than the original, because I couldn't, it would sticking out the roof. It looked like a trophy truck, which would just be stupid. Imagine a Triumph with big trophy truck with front fenders. Oh, it'd just be awesome. Basically, the suspension, when I put it in to this car, is going to be sitting at standard BMW ride height. And then I can go from there. All right. I have room to lower, and I've got room to do stuff. So I'm going to use those springs. Now, what I haven't done is the shock mounts. The original shock absorbers for this car actually mounted up underneath this in here. But with the BMW, they actually sit between the spring and the frame here and come straight up. And they're literally straight up and down at the back. So I'm going to need to do some kind of a mount in here, and then I'm also going to need some kind of a cross brace, and that is where the rear part of the roll cage is going to come down on top of that shock mount. Will create the top plate for the shock and provide bracing. And so, anyways, that's getting ahead of ourselves there. Let's focus, Panda, here, and let's get this sucker off of the rotisserie one more time. Holy crap, I forgot to press the record button. I thought I pressed it. All right, guys, well, it's off of the it's off the stand, and just want to show you. So again, I put a couple sticks under the back. It was wobbling a little bit, and I was like, man, what's going on here? What's warped? Oh my God, what have I done, right? I did a lot of welding. Oh shit. Well, I pushed down this side because I put a solid level across the front here, and pushing this corner down got me exactly 0 degrees. And then I'm running a level across the top of this here, and I'm showing 0 degrees on there. And if I come over here and I pop this level there, oh, God, that's at 50.15. Well, I'll just give it a little push, give it a knock. It wants to be, what? Get out of here. Are you kidding me? There. All right, just adjust. 0 degrees. So I'm going to call that a win. I'm going to call that this car is not twisted. Now, it could be a complete like rhombus. I mean, the left side could be further forward than the right. But, oh well. All right. Oh no, my battery's going to go. Oh yeah, so there we go. Front suspension is in place. Rear subframe in place. I just put in, like, I had this extra set of springs. I don't have the tool for compressing the stock springs, and I'm not doing the zip tie thing. I'm not jerry rigging something when it comes to, like, the spring of death, right? I have these springs. They're not the right ones, but they're pretty close to the right length for ride height. So I'm going to give them a try. If it doesn't work, what I'll do is take the weight off of it, and I'll just put a solid block of wood at ride height. And ride height for this particular cars, these are parallel to the ground, right? So when I took a look at the original car and at the at drawings and stuff, those are supposed to sit parallel to the ground at ride weight. So I can put a block of wood to hold them in place so that when it's sitting on its wheels, it's staying at ride height. The front, what I did is I lowered it as far down as it would possibly go, in order to give myself as much room as possible. Now, this is not going to sit perfectly at ride height because I don't have the motor in the car, and the motor is going to add about, I don't know, what's that? That's a metric shitload. So it'll put a metric shitload of weight on these springs. So I likely will have to, stiffen these up or bring these up in order to adjust the ride height. Either way, we got this where it's supposed to be. So let's throw the tires on this sucker, and then we can put it up on the cribs that we made. Okay, well, don't know how well you can tell, but the back is sitting very low, which is kind of a cool stance and all, but it's not what I want. I'm going to just toss that front fender on just to get an idea of, where that wheel is sitting in the fender opening, and how far it is, and see what kind of lowering I might need to do.
But this time, well, well, it's sitting nice in the, it's definitely in the middle of the opening, but definitely sitting high. And yeah, I mean, I fully expected that, and I'm gonna have weight, with the engine in there. And until I get the motor in, I'm really not gonna know how how exactly this is sitting. The issue that I have now, of course, is the fact that in order to get this monstrosity of a motor up and over and into this car, it's sitting way too high on these blocks. Like I like the blocks at this height, but I just don't have the ceiling room to lift the motor up and over this. The motor's going to be touching my roof here before I even clear the front of this, and there's nothing I can do about that at this point because I've welded the front on. Before, I was just sliding the whole thing in. Now, having said that, I absolutely could reattach the front subframe to the motor, and I could slide the motor underneath and then lift it up through the center. I mean, when they assemble the BMWs, the cars, that's how they marry the drivetrain to the body. They don't lift the motor in and stick it in this way. They lift everything up in one shot, into up underneath the body. So my opening is such that I know I could do that. Do I want to do that? Well, not really, but I'm probably going to have to, because there's no way around it. I'm definitely needing to see how this is going to ride, what the ride height's going to be like. And I don't think I want my ride height, well, no, I don't want it sitting that high, but either way, the back is definitely low. I knew that those springs were going to be low. If you look at the suspension, I mean, you can see it's like, it's on an angle, like, like this. So, and that's all down to the fact that these are way too small. So, either way, I got to make some adjustments here, to what I've done, but the car is up on the blocks. All right. Well, you know what? We got done what I set out to do. Got a lot of stuff done. There's still a bit of adjustment to make, but, that's all the time I've got for in this episode. So thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and, hit the notification bell wherever it is. And if you get a chance, pick up a Hornetic unit. You're all awesome. Thank you so much. See you next time.